So what's up, YouTube? This is Jeffman316, your pop culture reporter, coming back to you with the latest weekly pop culture report. This one will be for the week ending December 5th, 2020. So if you stay tuned, I'll let you hear all the news that's fit for me to read to you. So welcome back, YouTube. Like I said, this is the pop culture report for the weekend in December 5th, 2020. I hope everything's going well with you guys and everybody's still staying safe. We got Thanksgiving over and now we're heading rapidly towards Christmas. So I got a few news nuggets here that I think are really worthy. So I wanted to go ahead and do another weekly report.
Greetings from your astonishing, uncanny pool guy.
Thanks for that.
Oh, hello. I'm the grossly underpaid voice of Deadpool's head.
And with that being said, let's get started with the news. I'm going to go do like I did a couple weeks ago. I'm going to start off with the somber news first. We lost some pop culture type legends this week. First, we lost Pat Patterson. He passed away earlier in the week. If you don't know who Pat Patterson is, he's a WWE Hall of Famer and legend. A couple of the things that he was most well known for was he was the very first Intercontinental Champion that the WWE/WWF ever had. So he started the lineage of that title. A lot of great stars that he helped mentor over the years started out with that belt, like Stone Cold, Mankind, The Rock, those guys back then. If you go back and look at some of the tweets that went out, those guys, you can tell that Pat Patterson really meant a lot to them. He's also the inventor of the Royal Rumble. I don't know if you knew that. That's become my favorite match and then of the year usually, and then it starts off the road to WrestleMania. So Pat Patterson left us, and he was 79 years old. Someone else passed away that I was really remember from my childhood, David Lander. He was best known to me as Squiggy from the Laverne and Shirley show. I used to love Laverne and Shirley. My dad and I used to watch Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley religiously, like every week. He also starred in a movie that I remember, Used Cars, one of my favorite movies. So he doesn't have a huge role in it, he's got a couple bit parts in it, but they're funny as hell. So if you have a chance to watch Used Cars, that may be a movie that I try to review later as the channel goes. He was 73 years old when he passed. And then one of the most iconic roles in the Star Wars universe was Darth Vader, and the man who actually played the actor in the suit, I think David Prowse is how you pronounce his name, passed away this past week. He was 85 years old. He obviously didn't do the voice, but he was the menacing character, wearing the helmet and the suit in all of the early Star Wars movies. So that being said, let's go ahead and stay in the realm of movies, and let's talk about one of the biggest major announcements that came out this week, and that was that HBO Max is going to do all of their first run movies for 2021. Actually, one that's going to be in, I'll tell you about, that's going to be in a couple weeks, but they're going to do all of those movies day and date with the theater release, streaming at home on the same day. It's got the entertainment world a buzz, because most people are wondering how that's going to affect theaters next year, especially if there's a vaccine and everybody starts going back out. But I think HBO just wanted to go ahead and get a foothold. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how people are going to get the vaccine. You don't know how they're going to integrate back into the world of entertainment and going back out on the town and that type of stuff. So some really good movies though. I'm looking forward to. I don't know, it depends on how things goes. At least we'll get to see these movies if something happens and you can't go to the theater. But it starts off, I mentioned it last week, Wonder Woman is going to debut on Christmas Day, and then some other movies that are going to come out. It looks like it's going to be about 12, so they're going to average maybe one a month or so. There's some big ones coming out there. There's a sequel to The Conjuring. I think it's going to end up being the fourth one, called The Devil Made Me Do It. That's going to be one of them. The Space Jam sequel with LeBron James, that's one. Matrix 4. The Suicide Squad reboot that's got, I know John Cena's got a role in that one. And then one of the movies that I'm most looking forward to, Godzilla vs. Kong. So that's going to be awesome. I really hope, though, that maybe Godzilla vs. Kong is later in the year to where things are okay and we can really go back out to the theaters, because that's going to be a big spectacle, and I think you really need to see it on the big screen. So we'll go stay in the entertainment world, and we'll talk about, I don't know if you heard, but it's talking about streaming, something that Netflix did. Dave Chappelle made some comments in the public about how his, back when he was doing his television show in Comedy Central and then he ended up leaving, they obviously paid him a big contract for what he did. But he said all these years that Comedy Central's made money off of him, and he's never seen a dime since that original contract. Now, I know he's not hurting for money, but still, the point came across, and it was taken seriously by Netflix, because they went ahead and pulled the Chappelle Show from streaming. I don't know if it'll come back, and maybe they'll work out some kind of deal. Who knows? I just thought that was interesting. It was such big news that even Pete Davidson on this weekend update on Saturday Night Live, he made mention of it and tied it into a joke about a strange product that it obviously was a joke that tied his name to it. You should check that out. I won't spoil it here, but it was a little vulgar joke there. Speaking of that, the funniest skit that I've seen on Saturday Night Live in a long time happened this past weekend, and it was one of those digital shorts. It was a music video parody that Pete Davidson did for Eminem's song Stan, where he was playing an Eminem type character, and he was writing a letter to Santa Claus asking for something special, and his name was Stu. And it comes to find out he was asking for a PlayStation 5. So he couldn't get a PS5, so he wanted Santa to bring one, and then Santa wasn't answering his letter. So it goes along the lines of the video of the song Stan, and Eminem makes a surprise cameo at the end. So yeah, I know that's on YouTube, Saturday Night Live's channel, so check that out. So speaking of let's keep talking about TV and streaming service and that kind of thing. Did you guys check out The Mandalorian the last 2 weeks? I'm going to go ahead and talk about the latest one instead of just the one from a week ago. These last 2 episodes have been the best that I've seen in the whole entire series, as far as if you ask me. They had some fan favorite characters from the Star Wars worlds land in the last 2 episodes. You even got a name for my little mascot up here, Grogu. I thought that was kind of cool, but not this past episode, but the one before that, you had Ahsoka Tano, I think that's how you pronounce her name, played by Rosario Dawson, and I thought she did an outstanding job. The special effects they did with her carrying the 2 lightsabers and her introduction to the child and pushing that story along and telling the Mandalorian what to do next was awesome. And then in the latest episode, you get one of my favorite characters from when I was a kid, Boba Fett, returns, and it was kind of cool crossover thing because they ended up getting the actor that played his father, Jango Fett, in the prequel trilogy. So I thought that was just awesome, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. Continue on in the entertainment world. Ellen Page announced that she was transgender and that she's now going to go by the name Elliot Page instead of Ellen Page. And no problem with that. I mean, I really like her. I think she's a good actress. I know she's got a series on Netflix. I can't remember the name, but they said they're continuing with that. The only reason I mention it is because I really like to follow this. Like, how is this going to affect her career? What type of roles will she get? Now that she's going to be going by Elliot, I want to see how interesting this, it's very interesting to me how this is going to turn out. And I've really enjoyed a lot of her roles in the past, Hard Candy, Juno, things like that. Going to be really interested and see where this goes, takes her career. I mentioned it a week or so ago, maybe longer, but the movie Freaky that was in theaters is now, I think Friday night, it debuted as a rental on demand. I know I saw it on my Xfinity box, and I think I saw it on Vudu. I'm planning on watching that this week, and if I like it as much as I think I do, because it looks like to me like it's sort of like a Happy Death Day, I'm going to go ahead and maybe try to do a review of that. I love Vince Vaughn too, so I think he should be really good. So I'm going to segue into home video releases with this one.
I like my X-Men with big guns and full pouches.
Well, that's cool, but there's no X-Men movies out this week.
Wolverine's actually just a giant talking Wolverine.
So the first movie that we got this, I'm very interested in watching it. It's Peninsula. If you're not familiar with this movie, this is the sequel to The Train to Busan, is how you say that. Really like that movie, and then this is a 4K release. So haven't seen this yet. This will be a first time watch for me, and I was really glad that I could get this in 4K. There weren't a lot of first run releases this week, so this is one of the only first runs I bought. But there were several catalog titles that I like, that I purchased, and I can't wait to watch some of them. I'm gonna be off, for over a week during Christmas, and I'm gonna check out a lot of these. I've already watched. This is one of my favorite movies, so I already had to kind of cheat and sneak and watch the first few minutes of it, and it looks great in 4K, and it sounds amazing. They released some of the Eddie Murphy catalog titles, including Beverly Hills Cop in 4K. I'm not sure why they didn't release the whole trilogy. I own the trilogy on Blu Ray, but I love this movie. This is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies. It may be my favorite. Maybe I'll have to do a ranking of those one day. But I love this movie, and it looks amazing. One of the other catalog titles, I was joking saying that I should do a series that was called Where My Blu Ray At. There's a lot of movies I have on DVD that I hate watching DVD in standard definition now, that everything's high definition in 4K. I was always saying, where my Blu Ray at of this next movie? The Golden Child. This is a guilty pleasure of mine. I know it's not that good of a movie, but I kind of think that it makes a great double feature with the movie Big Trouble in Little China, because of the mysterious aspects of it, and it goes back into the mystic Asian world and that type of thing. This is one of the Paramount Presents titles. So what they do is they have it where you can open it, and they have a version of the movie poster inside. So that's cool. And then those Blu-rays usually come in a clear case. So it's the same cover art. But it's got a making of The Golden Child in HD, The Chosen Ones, Daggers, Design, and Demons in the theatrical trailer. I forgot to tell you, on the Beverly Hills Cop, it's got a lot of the special features from before, but it's got the commentary about the director Martin Brest. I'm assuming that was on one of the earlier releases, but if not, I think that would be really cool. I really wish they could get Eddie Murphy down to do some commentary tracks for his movies. Okay, the next one is one of my childhood favorites. I don't know how it's going to translate to an adult, but I loved this movie when I was growing up, and it's one of the few movies that's a musical that I actually enjoy. And it's the Robin Williams classic, Popeye. So Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall, I've got this on DVD. This is another one of theirs that I would always laugh and say, where my Blu Ray at? Gonna enjoy having this in high definition. I don't like the cover art. They changed it. There's this, actually, the poster has Sweet Pea at the bottom, and it usually, all of the other classic artwork that I've ever seen for this has a full poster where you see all their legs, and Sweet Pea's at the bottom. You do get to see Sweet Pea on the back, but still, I wish they had used the original poster art. It's got some new special features, including a return to Sweet Haven, a look back with Robin Williams and the Altmans, because Robert Altman, I think, directed this. The Popeye Company players, Popeye's premiere, and the Sailor Man medleys. I thought it would have been cool. They should have stuck some Popeye cartoons on here, but I'm not sure. Like I said, one of the few musicals that I enjoy. The last two are box sets that I bought, and they're catalog titles as well. I bought the Lord of the Rings trilogy in 4K. I'm not gonna pull it out. It's got one of these gigantic clamshell cases, and they're all snapped in. Nothing special artwork wise or whatever. I think they went a little cheap on this because it's got discs. It's only 4K discs, and it's got discs of the extended and the theatrical versions of each of the Lord of the Rings trilogy movies. They released The Hobbit this week as well. I was not able, I couldn't afford to get both of them at the same time, and they got it everywhere, so I don't think I'll miss out. But maybe if I'm good, Santa Claus will bring that to me. And the last one is a set that I've been waiting on for probably close to a month. I ordered this from Amazon UK thinking since I was a Prime member that I would get it quickly. I got it a lot cheaper than it was being sold in some of the stores in America. It is an import. So you had to get it from either someone who imported it in or import it in yourself. I'll tell you a little bit of the story once I show you what it is, but it's the 4K box set release of George Romero's classic Dawn of the Dead. I think this might be my favorite of his Living Dead series of movies. This box set is amazing. Let me see if I can go ahead and open it and show you a little bit of it. It's got multiple cuts of the movies. I think you get 4 versions, I think. The first one is the theatrical cut, and then you get the extended Cons cut, then you get the Argento cut, and then you get a disc special features. Alright, so there's 3 cuts, sorry, not 4. But you get those, and then you get another set of audio discs, which are soundtrack sampler. I think it's the full soundtrack actually, and then there's a lot of library compilations, but it's the original Goblin soundtrack, which I do not own, and I've been trying to look for ages, and it's out of print, and it's an outrageous fortune when you try to get it. Then you got the novelization of the movie with some cool cover art. Pretty thick book. That might be a good read. And then you have another picture book, Dissecting the Dead, that's got a lot of, I've already read about it. It's got a lot of essays, so a lot to read. And then it's got a lot of behind the scenes photos as well. So cool, be an interesting read, because I'm sure if I try to watch all the cuts of these films, that it's got so much in it that's the same, I'm sure that I'll probably want to check that out maybe when it gets to one of the boring parts, or parts that I've seen upwards of 3 times if I watch all 3. But this set, like I said, the issue that I had with getting it was I ordered it from Amazon and it shipped, and it only took like 4 or 5 days for it to get to the US. It hit the US and it got stuck at one of the hubs, probably because of either COVID or holiday delays. But then I got a notice saying that it was delivered, and then my wife and I looked everywhere and we couldn't find it. I spent a day and a half going back and forth with Amazon because it was in the UK. It was forever trying to chat and connect to them. They told me that I needed to talk to DHL, so they gave me the contact information for DHL. Come to find out, DHL marked it as delivered, but it wasn't delivered. It was delivered to the USPS hub in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is a state away from me, and then they put a new label on it, which is why it was marked as delivered. And then I had to wait upwards of 10 days for it to get one state away because of everything going on with the delays in the postal service. So with that being said, it finally arrived. I wish I had gotten it earlier because I could have watched some of it this weekend, but I have it now. So that's a lot of box sets that I've got to watch, catch up on movies. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fly through the wrestling part of my update, because not much happened as far as I'm concerned in the WWE, and I'll give AEW credit. They had the best news of the week and had the best news items to report.
Missed Bluetooth connection. You were a lonely nerd, and I was a head on a shelf. Let's try again.
Be quiet, I'm not turning you back on. So with that being said,
yes, I agree with whatever you just said.
Can you be quiet now? So let's start with last Sunday. It was the Survivor Series, which ended up being the 30th.
Let's take a walk around the block. I think the embarrassment of you carrying around a toy is worth the couple.
Let's say the embarrassment of me shutting your damn mouth by turning you off. How about that? So let's start with last week. Last Sunday was the 30th and Undertaker's 30th anniversary at Survivor Series, where 30 years ago he debuted. The pay-per-view, I'm not a fan of Survivor Series. It usually has a bunch of throw-off matches, Raw versus SmackDown, sometimes versus NXT, but I don't usually like those pay-per-views. But I was looking forward to the celebration, if you want to call it that, of The Undertaker and his 30-year career. It ended up being a total waste of time. They had about a dozen legends that came out, and they were in the ring, and they introduced each one of them to their music. Took forever for them to get out. And then the next thing you know, the Vince McMahon is in the ring, and none of the superstars are there. Superstars like Ric Flair, Kane, Triple H, everybody that was important to the Undertaker's life, Shawn Michaels. So then the Undertaker comes down, and he does a little 1-minute speech and says the Undertaker is going to now rest in peace. And then he leaves, and then that was it. They didn't have any interaction with the legends, didn't have any interaction with him and Vince McMahon. It was a total waste. I think they could have done something better than that, or at least saved it for saying they're going to do something in person, maybe at WrestleMania if they can have fans or whatever. I just think it was a total waste the way they did it. Raw leading, the next night, Survivor Series leading into that Raw the next night. They did have a really excellent match on there. It was a triple threat match. I think it was Riddle, AJ Styles, and Keith Lee. And the winner is going to fight Drew McIntyre at TLC. And AJ Styles won. And I think they announced today that match is actually going to be a TLC match. Over on SmackDown, I almost couldn't even tell you what happened on there. It was so boring. I think Otis and Kevin Owens teamed up against Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, and Reigns didn't show up at first as punishment for Jey Uso, and then he eventually came out, and then at the end of the match, after it was over with, he attacked Owens with a chair, and he attacked Jey Uso. So they did set up a TLC match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns at the pay-per-view. NXT War Games was tonight, so I'm not going to talk about the results, but we will talk about the results next week. But the show during the week was awesome. It had a match. The main event was Shotzi Blackheart versus Rachel Gonzalez, and they had a ladder match, and the winner of the ladder match got advantage in the War Games match. So that was a really good match. There wasn't tons of other great matches on the show, but that one was the best one if you only watch one. And so here we go. I'm going to give AEW some love because I've heard from a couple people that they say I bash them a lot. They had a really good match between Moxley and Omega for the AEW title. And I don't know if you're familiar with who Don Callis is, but he in real life is friends with Kenny Omega, and he is one of the commentators and works behind the scenes at Impact Wrestling. And he was on there, and he ended up throwing a mic in, and it got used, and Omega ended up busting open Moxley, and he ended up pinning Moxley, and Kenny Omega is your new AEW champion. And they're doing a crossover event this week, I think on Tuesday night on Impact. Kenny Omega is going to be on there, and I heard it's going to be a minimal crossover, but it'd be interesting to see what they do. With that being said, also, to me, the biggest news that came out of that show wasn't the title change. It was the debut of the Icon Sting. And you heard that right. Sting debuted on AEW Wrestling. He didn't say anything. They had this thing saying winter is coming, snow was falling, and he came out with his long coat and classic Crow makeup, the baseball bat. He looked cool, but, he's 61 years old, so I really hope they don't make him wrestle. And I hope he ends up being maybe some Darby Allin's or somebody's mentor / manager. That would be really cool. But I heard he sold a lot of merch like the next day. So I'm going to go ahead, and this was a TV nugget, but since I'm getting ready to wrap this up, I thought it was something cool that I would save for the very end. I don't know if you know, but Tim Allen has a show called Last Man Standing. I think it's on Fox now, and it's going to have the season debut in January, which is going to end up being the final season of the show. I think it's been on for 9 years. I saw a preview where he is going to play multiple characters on the show. He is going to need some home repair work done, which is going to lead to Tim the Toolman Taylor. And I don't know if they're going to call him Tim Taylor, but they're going to call him the Toolman, debuting on there, and they're going to be together on the same show. That to me should be hilarious, and I think that's kind of a cool connection there to make. Should be very interesting. So before we leave, I wanted to go ahead and let you know that as far as my channel goes, a couple things that I recorded. I did do a video this week of my haul from the Criterion Collection 50% off sale of Barnes & Noble. Why don't you check that out and see what I got. I'm going to do a video eventually of the Blu Ray DVD haul that I did from the Dollar Tree. I went to 3 different Dollar Trees and they had 16 to 20 boxes of movies at some of them. I ended up getting at least 18 to 20 Blu-rays at one of them, because why not? It's a price, 18 or 20 would be the price of one that you'd buy at Best Buy or Walmart now. I also wanted to go ahead and sink my teeth into a DVD or a movie review, and so I picked something that would be a little difficult, because I know that if I can do this one, that I can do any of them in the future. So go ahead and check out the DVD review I did of the movie Megan is Missing. It's going viral right now, talking about it on TikTok, and the director even posted a warning about it on TikTok. So check out that video. I'll go ahead and link it at the end of this one. And I'm going to do like I always do and end with a great quote from a really great philosopher. And here it is. Please don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. I think that's words that we can all live by, and that's from the great philosopher Dolly Parton. And with that being said, hit it, Dolly. Psych, just kidding. I thought that would be a great homage to Deadpool. And so I'd also want to ask you guys a favor. So I really want to try to build this channel up, and I can only do it with support from people like you who's watching my videos and liking everything. So go ahead and do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you will, leave any comments below if you like this. Watch some of my other videos, leave comments there. I really will appreciate it. So once you subscribe, then do me a favor and go ahead and hit the notification bell, because once you hit it, when I post these weekly reports or other videos like unboxings, toy reviews, movie reviews, and that kind of thing, you'll be the first to know, and you can come over and check out my channel. And I hope everybody has a great week, and I hope everybody's being safe as they prepare for Christmas. And this is Jeffman316, your pop culture reporter, signing out saying, you guys be safe out there.